Bout Time with Rashawn's Bout Time Boxing, aka Mr. Trill 100 Mil. What's up to my Bout Time Boxing family and the Trill 100 Mil gang? Thank you to every single one of y'all who has been taking out the time to watch the videos, like the videos, share the videos, and leave the comments. And thank you to every single one of y'all who has subscribed to the channel. If you have not already subscribed to the channel and you're watching this video or any of my videos for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Encourage others to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification button to stay up on the latest with Rashawn's Bout Time Boxing. Please support and subscribe to my guy, Rebel Like Boxing. Shout out to him. Mark Nash Boxing, Nate's Boxing Nation, Fanon's Boxing Channel, YSL Boxing, Hustlers Home Boxing, and shout out to New Media. This one here, this video is about Death to Old Media. And shout out to, my guy John. I think his name is John McGovern. I hope that I said your name right. It's John McGovern. If I mispronounced your name, you know who I'm talking about. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate you. You know what I mean? And Abdul Kawi, I appreciate you too. The Real Deal, you know what I mean? Wentworth Richardson, Kofi's Universe, all y'all know who I'm talking about, man. I appreciate all y'all. One day I'm gonna be able to run all y'all names down. But anyway, so this here, Devin Haney is without a doubt. There's no dispute. There's no argument. Nothing to be discussed or talked about or questioned. He is, whether anybody likes it or not, Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Undisputed. Undisputed. And the reason why I said not too long ago, Death to Old Media, because it seems that, and I know, shout out to all the other channels who did things about old media, and how they are angry at the fact that Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion. You know what I'm saying? So, and we got two black undisputed champions, but Devin Haney is the undisputed champion. Now, one of those people is Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman, all those guys, Joe Tessitore, and Mark Kriegel, and a few other. These guys hate the fact that Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Now, when TEOFIMO LOPEZ had the belts, Max Kellerman said that TEOFIMO LOPEZ is the undisputed. First he said he's the lightweight champion of the world. He's undisputed. He's the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Like it or not, I believe he said something to that effect. But I'm gonna jump into some audio in a few, and I'm gonna play two different pieces. One was Max Kellerman talking about TEOFIMO LOPEZ, and the other one he did an interview with Devin Haney, and show you how he's making these hypocritical statements, talking about how, when Teo was the champion, he didn't need none of these sanctioning body belts and all this old, absurd, and all that stuff. But see, he was only saying that because the only belt that TEOFIMO LOPEZ didn't have was the WBC lightweight title. He had a franchise title. Loma gave up that WBC title to Devin Haney. That's when everybody was calling him an email champion and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's his fault how he got the belt. It's not his fault how he won the belt. Loma didn't want to fight him, so he gave up the belt. So he's carrying the franchise title. TEOFIMO LOPEZ had a franchise title. George Kambosos had a franchise title. And there were some people who was even saying that George Kambosos was undisputed. How? When Devin Haney is the But you see the disrespect that they were giving to Devin Haney. They were basically saying, you know, his belt didn't matter. So old media was disrespecting Devin Haney bad. So I'm going to play some audio of this interview with Devin Haney and Max Kellerman. I'm gonna jump into this one first. And then we're going to jump into this other one. He's going to tell Devin Haney how he's done a good job with getting his name out there and how he's working his way through the ranks. And let's jump into it.
Australia, and might be willing to vacate the belts and not fight at all.
Wrong one. This is the one.
Done a great job getting your name out there, making people aware of you, but you've been unable so far to get another big name in the ring. Why do you think that is?
It's because they're scared to fight me. I've been trying to fight, you know, the top guys. I've been calling them out. I was one of the first people to actually call for Lomachenko to when he was the boogeyman and no one wanted to fight him and he was the pound for pound best. Devin Haney was the only one that kept calling for Loma.
Meantime, Devin, I appreciate the fact that you're fighting whoever they put in front of you. You're winning. You're working your way up the rankings. If you can't get a shot, that's not your fault. As I said, you're doing also a very good job of getting yourself out there and promoting yourself. Nevertheless, to me, because Teofimo beat Lomachenko, who had collected all the belts, Teofimo's the lightweight champion of the world, like it or not. How do you feel about that?
He didn't collect all the belts. I have the WBC title. I am the WBC world champion. He collected a franchise title, not a belt. A franchise title. He is not the undisputed champion. I am the WBC champion. So Teofimo does not have all the belts.
But what I'm asking, Devin, is it's unclear who the best lightweight in the world is. All five of you guys need to fight and sort that out. But in terms of the traditions of boxing, the champion, the man who beat the man.
All four of us. Loma lost. Loma's out of it. It's all four of us.
So you think it's a single eliminator kind of tournament to see who the best lightweight in the world is?
You can't be the best lightweight in the world and you just lost. There's no way.
When you say Loma was the franchise champion, that's a way that the WBC has of stripping a guy without really stripping him. But then the regular champion is considered a notch below the franchise champion. But you say because you have that belt, you're disputing his claim to the title?
The franchise title is a way to duck your mandatory. I have mandatories.
He said that's the WBC's way of stripping the guy without stripping him. No, it's not. No, it is not. The franchise title is for guys who's trying to avoid their mandatories. Now, and there's proof out there, and I should have actually, listen, those of y'all who've been keeping up with this, y'all know what I'm talking about. And there's video footage out there of Mauricio Suleiman having a conversation with somebody, and he said that Loma petitioned for the franchise. He asked them, he petitioned for that belt. And so did Canelo. It's not they stripping them without stripping them. No, that's not. It's a way of them stripping the guy without stripping him. They don't strip you at all. When you're trying to duck or avoid your duck and avoid your mandatories, that's what they do. Hey, you know what? Since this guy's my mandatory, there's a chance he might whoop my ass. So I'm just going, listen, I want to petition for the franchise title. And if y'all know about this video, Mauricio Suleiman said when the fighter comes to them and petitions and asks them for the franchise title, he said that they consider their record, their accomplishments, and all of those things that they've done. They factor all of those things in, and then they decide on whether they are going to give them the franchise title or not. And he said that Loma petitioned for it, Teofimo did, and Canelo. And Loma petitioned for it after he gave up the belt to Devin Haney. So the belt that you see, and before, and when they first started giving up the franchise title, remember, They changed the rules with it now because the franchise title, you couldn't change hands with it. And if you went up in weight, you couldn't take the belt up with you and none of that kind of stuff. It was just a belt that you got to avoid your mandatory. It really didn't have no value. The franchise title did. So it's not their way of stripping a fighter without stripping them. No, that belt it's a witness protection title. It's a belt for fighters who wants to avoid their mandatories because they feel there's a strong chance that they're going to get their ass whooped and lose. That's what it's for. So when y'all listen to that audio and y'all hear Max Kellerman he's trying to be disrespectful to Devin Haney, right there when they was doing the interview. Oh, you're doing a great job with getting yourself out there, like you patronizing them. You're doing a great job with getting yourself out there and you're fighting whoever they put in front of you, working your way through the ranks. He was 24-0, 25-0 with 15 knockouts. And he was calling Lomachenko out before that. But guess what? When Loma asked for a world title fight, you know what I mean, and his second or third professional fight, even though he lost his second professional fight as a pro, you didn't hear Max Kellerman and them saying this stuff about Loma. You didn't hear them saying this about him. And even when Devin Haney said Loma is out, he lost, so he's out. You can't be the best lightweight if you lost. He's out. So it was the four of them. He was talking about him, Tank, Ryan Garcia, and I guess Teofimo Lopez. And that's so it's like an eliminator type of thing, huh? So that's what you think. So whoever loses is not. And Loma still to date, 18-2 with 11 knockouts. But you don't hear them. You don't hear old media disrespecting Lomachenko and talking like that to him the way they doing to Devin Haney and to Gervonta Davis and to Shakur Stevenson. You don't hear them treating them like that. You know what I mean? You don't see them treating Loma the way they treating those three guys, Shakur, Devin, and Tank. You don't hear that. No matter what happens with Loma, they still find a way to praise him and talk about, well, he's still one of the greatest pound for pound. Even without no belts, they probably still believe that Loma is pound for pound, is the pound for pound king in the lightweight division still without the belts. Especially Max, since he said those belts don't mean anything. And y'all going to hear that in this next audio. This is what I'm talking about now. This is when Teofimo Lopez had the belts. Listen to what he said about Teofimo Lopez.
Don't want to fight in Australia and might be willing to vacate the belts and not fight at all. Let me tell you something about belts. Teofimo Lopez does not need any of these absurd sanctioning body belts. He is the lightweight champion of the world. He's the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. If anyone has a dispute, it's Devin Haney. That's the only guy, and I don't think his dispute is strong, but he does have a legitimate point of view. Otherwise, belt or no belt, garbage. He's the lightweight champion of the world. Teofimo, you should act that way. They don't want the Kambosos fight. How about a rematch with Lomachenko for the lightweight title?
Now, you see that? You heard what he said? Like it or not, he's the undisputed champion of the world. He don't need those sanctioning body belts. But in order for you to say that he's the lightweight champion of the world, you basing that on what? The belts that he had at the time. The only belt that he didn't have was Devin Haney's belt. So you see the subliminal disrespect to Devin Haney? Well, even though Devin Haney is the real lightweight champion, you don't need that belt because you got 3 other belts plus the Ring magazine, and plus you got this franchise title that says you can avoid him. So you the real lightweight champion. And then to further the disrespect, when Devin Haney won, Max Kellerman tagged him on Twitter and said, now Devin Haney is the lightweight champion of the world. Congratulations, champ. Still refusing to call him undisputed with all the belts. The franchise title, the real WBC belt, the Ring magazine, WBO, WBA, IBF. He got them all. And Max Kellerman still won't call him the undisputed champion. He just said now he's the lightweight champion. but Teo had 3, plus the Ring magazine. He didn't have a WBC title. Now remember, that's a franchise belt. And when Loma had it, that during that time, remember, if y'all can go back and look this up, the franchise title couldn't change hands in a fight. You know what I mean? If you went up in weight, you couldn't take it with none of that stuff. It really had no value. It was a pass card. You don't want to fight this guy, you think he might beat you, okay. Then you don't have to fight him. Or if you had, well, you cough that belt up, now we're going to give you this franchise title so you can avoid your future mandatories. Because remember, when you are the real champion, IBF, WBO, WBA, WBC, you get mandatories. And those sanctioning bodies mandate that you fight your mandatories. You don't get no mandatories with a franchise title. You don't. You avoid your mandatories with the franchise belt. So for Max Kellerman to say what he said, for old media to keep disrespecting Devin Haney the way that they are, that's why I say this is death to old media. Get over it. Devin Haney is the man in the lightweight division. Don't matter who don't like it. That's the reality. Because when Loma didn't have all of the belts, y'all still considered him the man in the division. Loma is the guy to beat. He's the man. And he didn't have all the belts. So you see how old media flocked to Teo, how they stroked his ego, how they stroked Ryan Garcia's ego when he beat Luke Campbell. They said to him, well, you know, oh, now that you beat Luke Campbell, you can basically fight anybody you want. You can write your own ticket. With a WBC, what was it? A WBC Continental or Intercontinental title or something like that. Basically a runner-up belt, and he can write his own ticket on that. But Devin Haney, oh, you beating who they put in front of you, and you're working your way through the ranks. So he got to fight his way. You know what I mean? Keep proving himself in order to do it. Shakur Stevenson got to do the same thing to prove himself. Gervonta Davis got to keep doing the same thing to prove himself. Because think about it. Both Tank and Loma, they both fought Jose Pedraza. Loma beat him unanimous decision. He the man. He's the man to beat. Tank knocked out Jose Pedraza, but he still got more to prove. All he still hasn't proved that he can do this. But when Loma do it, it's signs of greatness. Loma got 1 or 2 of the belts. He pound for pound best. He the man. TEOFIMO had the belts. Oh, he's the lightweight champion of the world. Undisputed, like it or not. You see the disrespect? That's all he was saying was, well, you know, you don't need Devin Haney's belt. And even in the interview that he did with Devin Haney, he was still trying to be disrespectful. Oh, he tried to slide it in there and didn't think Devin was going to catch it. Oh, well, TEOFIMO is you know, he collected all the belts. He said, no, he didn't collect all the belts because I'm the WBC champion. He didn't collect all the belts. But you see how he tried to slide that in there to basically try to say, well, the belt you got really don't mean nothing because he collected all the belts, so he got them all. No, let's be clear. And I'm glad Devin, you know what I mean, corrected Max the way he did. And Max still was trying to, you know what I mean, finagle his way to still basically try to say that, you know what I mean, that Devin's belt didn't mean nothing. That's all he was still trying to say. Old media need to pack it in. Shout out to new media. Even, you know what I mean, the channels that I don't even know that exist or don't know I exist or whatever. Like new media. Shout out to new media because we all keeping it a brick. You feel me? We keep it a brick or what's going on out here in the fight game for real. We calling it what it is. Not what people want it to be. You got to call what it is, whether people agree or disagree. If you rock with it, hey, I rock with you. But if not, I'm not going to lose no sleep over that because I know what it is. Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. Undisputed. Loma was not. Teo was not. George Kambosos was not. And I had a lot of weirdos trying to argue with me about that. If he ain't undisputed, then what is he? With a franchise title? So that's how you know some people don't do their homework and they don't know. and they don't understand, they don't know what the franchise title is about. But again, like I said, y'all can look up that stuff. Y'all can look up the video with Mauricio Suleiman saying that, nah, he's like, nah, yeah, he petitioned for the franchise title. Yeah, he petitioned us for it. And he said that they look at the fighter's record, their accomplishments, and all, they factor all of those things in. But now Devin has them all. And he didn't petition for the franchise title. Now, apparently the franchise title can change hands now. But, like it or not, deaf to old media, shout out to new media, Devin Haney is the real undisputed lightweight champion of the world.